Survived obviously with the 10 men. I thought they were better the week before at Liverpool, and you're expecting to come out and give it a real go within 10 minutes, go blast them away. But give Southampton credit, Southampton were brilliant at times. They played some really good football. Suleimani was really good down that left, and that's why I asked him.
Best you've seen them all season?
Yeah, probably the only second time I've seen them, but yeah, it's definitely best. No, they were brilliant. I thought Aribo in midfield was really good, and as the manager said, when they tired a little bit, they brought the better players off. I thought that changed the game.
But Karen, once again, it was Ahmad who stepped up for them when he needed them to, and he's just that player who can make something happen.
Yeah, one-on-one player, drive, take people on, and want to get in behind as well. I think, to be fair, Xerxes coming on as well, I thought he made a difference. You know, flicks and tricks, he gave confidence, but this is the 1v1s, and this is where I think Wolf Peters had a real problem. He did get a lucky kind of rebound, but what I like about him, first touch forward, positive, putting the full-back on the back foot, and you earn your little bit of luck. You still have to finish it, and he absolutely did. And then from then on, Southampton, as Scholes mentioned, had taken their best players off. The confidence had absolutely drained in them. So then it was about, OK, not only is it 1-1, how can you turn this into 3 points? And to be fair, you see me pick the ball up and he went, we are going again. And he dragged them through it.
He drove them forward, didn't he? And then Paul, for the first time, he scored in back-to-back Premier League games.
Yeah, look, he's been Man United's best player for the last few weeks, since Amorim's actually come in. And he was the one player tonight, even in the first half, where you thought something could possibly happen. And he's got on to show that. He's got great ability, can go either way. Again, is he going to be a wing back? Has he got that right balance to play that position? Would he be more suited to a number 10? I don't know. I think against the better teams defensively, especially, it could be a struggle for him. But look, he stepped up when the team needed a win tonight, and he's been the one that'll get all the plaudits, and rightly so.
Where does he need to be, Karen, to get the best out of him?
Higher up. You know, this is for me where he is. You know, pressing, getting on the front foot. Look, like I said, it's Southampton culpable to their own mistakes. We've seen it throughout the whole of the season, and like I mentioned, I think at this point their confidence and their heads had gone, but you have to snap onto it, and Ahmad was sharp, sensed it, and obviously deserved that goal. But I prefer him higher up. I think he can play inside and outside. Don't think Garnacho can, but I think he can. So go and see what the opposition give you, and then put him in a position where he can hurt you the most. But he's their shining star at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. A hat-trick for Ahmad in that 3-1 victory. And when we come back after the break, we are going to hear...
Ivan, what is your assessment of your team's performance this evening?
I think we did 75 minutes and really good, playing much better than Manchester United. In the last 15 minutes we were like innocent kids, and not good mentality. To win this game, you can play like 75 minutes the big game, and then in 15 minutes you have to be much more malicious, I can say, and a little bit more evil, I don't know, to win the game.
What do you think led to that? Was it a lack of physicality, as you mentioned?
No, it's not physicality. There is a moment that you are a little bit down, but you have to earn some foul, some free throw, losing the time, be much more clever. There's a lot of situations that we are naive.
And do you feel that this performance was always in your players? You mentioned there for 75 minutes they were absolutely outstanding in this match.
It has to be. Until the end we have to play like this. I think in my opinion, we have to work even more on the training to not go down last 15 minutes. And it was like really good performance here, and we have to keep continuing about 90 minutes.
What are the main positives you take out of it?
No, that we are playing very good game, and I'm really sorry for guys, angry, because we did good things last 15 minutes.
Yeah, especially the tactics in the first half. You seemed to get them absolutely correct with the pace and the ability to play in behind Manchester United. Unfortunately, you couldn't add to your goal tally.
I think we did everything good. We had lots of chances to score more goals. We didn't score. But like I said, we did a really good game until 75.
While you're disappointed with the overall result, can you use this as a marker, a catalyst for the next games?
We have to use everything for the next game. I want the same performance against Nottingham and to begin like with other type of mentality to win the games.
Ivan Juric there speaking to Emma Dodd, saying that his side for 75 minutes were so good. They needed to be more malicious, Karen, more evil, and suggested that his players were naive at the end.
Yeah, I can't disagree with him, but I also think when you take your two best players off, and I know Diblin was probably injured, I think they missed then an attacking threat and an outlet, which then invites all the pressure on. But it maybe is that grit, that determination, that experience. But like I mentioned before, I think the squad depth isn't good enough. But he would be frustrated. And for 60 minutes, they were absolutely outstanding.
They'll be going away feeling like they don't deserve to be on the losing side tonight. And he's clearly not turning it round in terms of results in the Premier League. But do you see him starting to turn it round in the performances?
Well, I think that, I know Karen said 60, but I thought it was more like 70, 75 minutes. I thought they were really good. They were really good to watch. I thought they were a lot better than Manchester United. I think tactically they're better. I thought technically they're better, which was the most surprising thing. Just the way they passed the ball into people, the way people received the ball. I know Amorim said that himself about his own team. Man United were really poor at that. The side of the defenders to pass it on, the weight of pass, the control when it came into Rasmus Højlund was so poor at times. He kept giving it back to them. And Southampton were totally different. They were on a different level to United for a long time. And it just solely because of Amad Diallo that Man United have won this game. The rest of the players, long hard look at yourself.
Yeah, well, Rio Ferdinand has tweeted about Amad as well at the end of that game. Look at that, I'm glad this isn't full length from that photograph. He said, what have I just witnessed? Amad rescue job at Old Trafford. Let's go.
I'm still,
You're still stunned at the photograph, Karen, aren't you?
Yeah, go Scholes.
Absolutely, but yeah.
What are you thinking about, Karen?
Nothing.
The last word. I'm moving on quickly.
Yeah, move on.
The last word to Amad, who was the absolute star here tonight. Absolutely brilliant. Well, we're almost done at Old Trafford, but the live sport continues into the night, and Kate Mason is standing by with the cricket.
I think they did a very good job. Southampton creating space between the lines, and then the number 20 with a lot of space behind. We had some difficulties to stop that player, but then when they lose the physicality in the end of the game, in the last 30 minutes, we find the space to use, and then we could change the game. But the feeling is that we have so much to do. I felt the team really tired, because Liverpool, Arsenal, 120 minutes, and then it's not just tired, the physical part of the player, is the mental part of the player. So was a win, was good, let's continue.
And Amad, the talisman again for you, delivering at the end. Just how key was it to get him in those areas where he can do that sort of damage for you?
Even in the first half, every time Amad has the ball, he can push the ball. Sometimes he cannot. He doesn't take one player, but he pushes the other team to the final third inside the box, and that type of players is really important. Like I said, we didn't do a very good game, but in this moment, winning is the most important thing.
I was going to say, Ruben, I felt after the Liverpool game where I think the performance was really good. I sensed after the game a bit of a frustration from you, from where's that been, where's that mentality been? That carried on to last week against Arsenal. I think you've been probably looking for a bit more of that mentality, that strength, that almost, what's the word? Enthusiasm for the game tonight, which wasn't quite there again for 70-75 minutes. And what do you put that down to? Tiredness playing there?
It's not just tired, but playing in this stadium, we lost the last 3 games here, and the pressure is different, because we try to press the opponent in build-up, and you can feel it, the difficulties. And then Mateus between the lines and dribbling between the lines with creates a lot of problems, and we have difficulties to press high in the moment. Yeah. This team is not used to do that. And then it seems like lack of enthusiasm. So Ugarte is late, Kobe Mainu is late, Bruno going outside, the ball is inside. And then one transition and Lenny Yoro cannot catch the guy. These small things push the team behind, and then we get nervous without ball. But then when you have one click, one goal, one opportunity, you feel like the team can control better the game. Yeah. So I want to be fair with my players. Today was not a lack of enthusiasm, was a lack of speed, and sometimes lack of control of the game.
I was going to say, a lot's been made of your philosophy and the 3-4-1-2 system. Players suited to that? And if you haven't, how long do you think it could take to get to that level?
First of all, it's hard. Of course, they are not used to play like that, because you have to cover a lot of space, you have to jump, we have to change which player is jumping on the press, and then with the ball today, we saw that we have some patterns when the ball is in the sides of the pitch, but then we lose the duels. It's hard to explain now. We don't have the training, so I cannot tell you that they can do it or not. Yeah. But it's a different system. It's so completely different what they are used to do it. So I don't know how long it's going to take. But the profiles sometimes you can understand is not the right ones. But we have to improve players, and we know the situation of the club. You have to continue.
Bruno, you mentioned there obviously the problems, but what did you say to them to solve it then at half time? Because you looked frustrated, the ground was frustrated, and they weren't doing what you wanted to do. So what was you telling them then at half time?
The first thing is more to close the middle and to push the ball outside, because we had a lot of problems, the ball between the lines. And then I told them to in the game of duels, we have to keep the ball. And sometimes you see the ball in the Ahmad or Nus, ball inside, and Rasmus wants to turn the ball. We have to keep the ball, because just one connection change side of the game, and the field is open. And then I told them that in this kind of teams that they were pressing man to man, the simple things of good pass and movement, good reception is the key to the simple things. Is the key to get the chances. I think they improve in the second half.
Ruben, we have to let you go, but thanks so much for coming out to join us.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
A few days then for that young man. He signed a new deal only earlier in the week, and there he is now with the match ball, player of the match as well, unsurprisingly, with that first senior hat-trick. Brilliant evening, but who saw that coming from Manchester United and from Amad Diallo, who toiled for so much of that game against Southampton. He's receiving the raptures of the Manchester United faithful, and well-deserved in the end. I mean, he bailed them out. Is a bit of an understatement, Owen.
Big time. And he deserves his new deal, because he's the one, you know, even you saw in that game against Manchester City, they didn't play great, but Ahmad showed up right at the end in the big moments. And, you know, he's only 22, but for such a young man, he has a feel for the big moments. I mean, imagine if they would have lost to Southampton today. 82 minutes, they were 1-0 down, and somehow he just grabbed the game. He got the ball and he just kept running at people, committing people. Okay, at times you get a little bit of good fortune, like he did with the little ricochet Walker Peters, but he makes things happen. Man United fans are used to seeing wingers get on the ball and make things happen, and Ahmad does that. So credit to him. You know, he's smiling, he's scoring goals. He's just, you got to love watching him. Yeah,
and at 22, to show the composure that he did. You know, because everything was on the line, really, wasn't it, for Manchester United at that point?
He's a confident player, and I think even just listening to his interview, he's got an attitude and a charisma about him that I think is exactly what Man United need a little more of. That's the one we spoke about, the ricochet, but just because he comes in with intensity, it almost helps him get that ricochet. That's the reason it does fall in his favour. And
he's so positive, isn't he, Rachel?
He wants to get at
he's straight at you.
Yeah. And it's a good finish, you know, he knows he's going to probably hit it hard, and he keeps it low. Ramsdale tries as quickly as he can to make himself big, and, you know, he sneaks it underneath him. But he was the one throughout. You know, he wanted to be the difference, and he does it for the team. And I think just the energy he has, bringing the fans involved, and those are the things. So in the first half, you know, Højlund getting frustrated. You see other players, they throw the arms up, they get annoyed, they try and, you know, shoot from distance when maybe there's a better option. I feel he's the one, although he's young, he feels like he does more things for the team. And you know, that's why I think it's easy to be pleased for him to see him get the 3 goals.
I mean, you'd expect that to come from some of the more senior players, right? Not somebody who's the club is building the future around, essentially, right now.
But you could tell the way that his teammates were hugging him after he scored.
Yeah.
Do you know, they were like,
thanks.
Thanks a lot. You know, you saved us a lot of grief.
Yeah.
And that's how they look up to him, even though he's probably one of the youngest out there. He's the guy that they get him the ball and he just runs at people. It wasn't good football, by the way. You know, they didn't play good football today. Southampton were probably equal, but they had a guy out there in Diallo who, he just makes things happen, you know, and sometimes that's all you need, but they definitely need to play better than they did today.
The second goal was a slicker move, the 1-2 with Christian Eriksen.
Yeah, the second goal's a great move, but again, you see him, he gets the ball in a space where he can face up Walker Peters. He walks it down the line, and you just see here Eriksen just... the weight of the pass from him in the first instance allows Eriksen to play it first time. He knows he then has the pace and the power to accelerate. He knows the ball's going to come back to him. And that's also intelligent play. This little pass here, you know, it's soft enough that he knows it's coming first time. Beautiful ball from Eriksen. Just that's a difficult pass.
That's
a really
brilliant
difficult
ball.
pass.
But not one other United winger would make that run after playing that ball to Eriksen. They'd stand still. He plays the ball and he runs forward, Manish. He runs into an area where he can affect the game. That's why Eriksen plays in the ball. That's a difficult finish. By the way, you know, the young guy, he just gets it and he runs at you. And he puts defenders under pressure. And you've got to love that. I love just the fact he keeps running. You know, he wants to make things happen. I know it sounds very simple, but it's important.
Yeah, Xerxes was involved in that first, Eriksen clearly in the second. Substitutes played a massive role in the end.
Yeah, well, for both sides, you know, I think for United, and Southampton kind of lost control of the game. I mean, that's why the 20th, you know, they played so well. We were brave, tried to play football. Oh, but he's a good young player. Can't make mistakes like that. But one thing, Rachel, we mentioned, Diallo, he presses, doesn't he? He's so good pressing.
And if, you know, he makes you think you've just a few more seconds than you do, and then he's on top of you. It's really poor, really, really poor from Southampton. But Ahmad's done that. A few goals United have scored recently, but it's that pressure that he comes at pace, sneaks it, and you know, you see the stats there from just today. He was really the only one that you could highlight.
Because up until that point, you would have to argue Onana was probably the best United player.
Oh, easily. I mean, the amount of saves that he had to make Onana in the game, he was so busy. I mean, at 82 minutes, nobody at Old Trafford would have said that game would finish 3-1. Manchester United. They didn't really look like scoring. But credit to them. You know, they hung in there, and they found a way to win a game where it wasn't vintage.
Yeah. But also what it does do is it just keeps alive that momentum that they generated in the previous 2 games. At one point, it felt like it was going to come to nothing. But the feel-good factor is back all of a sudden, only because in the nature in which they won that game tonight.
Yeah, you score late goals, you get an extra buzz too. I mean, Amorim looked sort of beside himself for most of the game, and then you see him at the end, there's sort of the big smirk. You know, a lot of that's relief. It does continue the good momentum. But I do think there will be a lot of questions asked in the coming days before the weekend, because Southampton were the better team. The majority of the game.
A side bottom of the table for most of that game.
You wouldn't have said so, no. And I think for a club like Manchester United, the last 2 performances, you know, getting after Liverpool, we understand the rivalry there. You know, going up against Arsenal, player down, having to fight. As a player, those things don't ask as much of you, but the character to play against a team that's bottom, that you should dominate, I think today we still didn't see enough. I still think that the players that United have, they need to be able to perform to a higher standard much more consistently.
I mean, Suleimana looked like he had the beating of everyone, didn't he? Dribbling in the first half, he was brilliant. Suleimana, I mean, he destroyed everybody out there, didn't he? He just kept running at Euro, you know, and had to beat him every time. So they'll watch that game back and not believe they didn't get something from the game, Southampton. But for Manchester United, they need to start building. you know, and that could be something. But we keep saying it. But still, what are they? 12 now?
Yeah.
They were 15. They're 12. Obviously, got some big
10
games
clear
coming.
of the bottom three.
I think they got Brighton coming up, Fulham, who are right in and around them. So they need to start building. But the one thing you would say is from the starting 11 that he had out there to what he ended up with, his team virtually changes every game, almost completely. Yeah. So I think he needs to. I know he starts with something, but he looks like he's got to settle in a group of players that he thinks these are my guys going forward.
Yeah, and you have touched upon it already, and we have to give Southampton credit in the way that they took on the challenge of facing Manchester United. It seemed that they hadn't beaten for 17 meetings, but the way they took the lead from a set piece, Rachel, I mean, this will be, I suppose, will come to infuriate Ruben Amorim more than anything, because it's clearly been a vulnerability of United's.
Yeah, it has, and you know, you go for a system. You see here, Martin has highlighted your job there. You're not marking anyone. Your job there is, if the ball comes into that front area, you've got to win it. And worst case scenario, if someone tries to affect you, you have to stop them from winning it. Dibbling gets a flick, and you know, you slow it down. You sort of saying to Garthy, well, he sort of turns his back, it hits him. You know, you could have standing maybe a bit stronger and bigger there, but that happens quickly, so you can understand why he sort of reacts and just throws his body and doesn't sort of deal with it. But that again is basics, which when you're in the position that United are in, you're conceding goals, you have to try and eradicate those moments. And for the most part, Martin is normally, he's very front-footed, he does attack things, but that he got himself caught there, a little lesson for him that, you know, when these things happen, often it puts you on your toes and then you're switched on for the next, you know, set pieces in those same moments.
And look at that, the amount of goals they've conceded from corners already this season is into double figures. Joint most with Wolves, who are in the bottom three.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an issue. It has all season. The one thing you would say is, I mean, I used to play there, you know, on corner and stuff. He's not the biggest Martinez, so, you know, like, dribbling just gets in front of him and it's a flick. And your job, Richard makes a really good point, your job is not to allow anybody in front of you. You know what I mean? Even in front of him. Yeah. And then he gets in front of you. Like, once the flick happens, everybody's in trouble. And that's why the goal goes in. So if somebody's coming, you just bump him, get him out the way, and then you win the header. So I'm not sure that's a position Martinez.
But he's been told to go there.
No,
right?
obviously from the man. But what I'm saying is, I'm not sure that's normally for like a defensive midfield player, or I think he's better off being in his natural left-sided position. Yeah, in my opinion. But again, that's up to the manager. But it's been an issue all season.
Well, up until the point Amad Diallo hadn't got on the score sheet, we were saying just now, Andre Onana played his part in keeping the scoreline down and almost making that victory possible in the end. Let's have another look at that double save, for example. I mean, that will be seen as a crucial point in the game.
A really big moment in the game, because at this point I think Southampton were starting to get a little bit of momentum. You see Dibbling there, just rolls Martinez. I mean, great skill, that's just great skill. But Onana does really well. First save, gets down low, comes at him quickly, and then the second save he's up sharp and makes that big block for the second one. But Dibbling here, great, just lovely feet to then cut back inside De Ligt and get his shot off quickly. And yeah, Onana's really the hero from the first half. Yeah.
Owen?
Yeah, Dibbling he was brilliant. He's only 18 years old, got a lovely left foot, he's quick, he's explosive, gets into those spaces. Onana does great. You know, he made some massive saves in the game there, even that one. You know, his chest, he's got composure and just hits it straight at Onana, who makes himself really big. And he's made a lot of big saves this season, Onana, for Manchester United. And that point in that first half, they were under pressure there, United. Yeah. And Onana kept them in the game.
See, I just wonder how big a call Amorim had to make who to be in goal after what we saw against Arsenal. Bayinde was incredible at the end of it. But, you know, he is his go-to guy in the Premier League this season. In fact, he started all the games so far.
He is. And I think Minder deserved the opportunity in the Cup. And he did have a good game. I think probably it was something where it was maybe the right decision to keep that continuity with Onana for the league.
Right, let's get some post-match reaction to that incredible win for Manchester United. Matthijs de Ligt joins us pitchside at Old Trafford now. Matthijs, thanks for joining us. What's the mood like in the dressing room you've just left behind?
Yeah, obviously really happy. Really important win for us. It wasn't an easy game today, especially the first half was quite difficult. But yeah, the fact that I think 50 minutes before full time, you score 3 goals. You win 3-1, 3 points are really important for us.
A word for Amad Diallo, I suppose United's hero. in the way that he came up trumps in the closing stages. It's incredible for a guy who's only 22.
Yeah, he's really important at the moment. He's having a lot of confidence at the moment. He's playing really well. He's playing really well also between the lines, on the side. And I think today what was really important was that he still had the energy to make these runs, to make this 1-against-1, because that's obviously how they play, 1-against-1 on the whole pitch. So yeah, the fact that he could still do that in the last minutes was really important.
I have to ask you, did you see that coming with 81 minutes on the clock at that point?
You always believe, and especially against teams from Juric, the coach. I know him from Italy, the way their team's playing. It's always really aggressive, but in the last minutes they always get a little bit tired and you get a lot of space, and I think you saw that today. I think the fact that we kept believing in winning this game was really important, and yeah, obviously 3-1 in the end. To say that I knew that it was going to happen, it would be a lie, but I still believed in it.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for your honesty, though. But, you know, up until that point, why was it United were unable to find that kind of standard of performance that we saw against Arsenal and Liverpool before?
Yeah, I think the way they play is 1-against-1 on the whole pitch, and to win a game like that is important to win your duels. And I think especially the first half, we couldn't get out of our half. Every ball we lost on our own half, and then it's difficult to play. Then it's also obviously the confidence goes down of the players. The crowd also feels that it's difficult for us to play, and you see that the confidence is dropping then in the players. And yeah, I think especially the second half, especially in the end, when you felt like they were becoming tired, we got more chances. The crowd was standing behind us, and we got more energy to make the action to score goals.
Yeah, it also felt like a real squad effort towards the end, because the substitutes more than played their part too.
Yeah, really important, really important. Joshua Zirkzee today was really important with his hold-up play. I think he won a lot of duels. Anthony, who came in, who was really unselfish to play also in the end a position that he definitely don't like to play as a right wing back, but he did it for the team because Ahmad was tired. And Toby Collier, who came in with so much intensity, and there's probably another player who came in, I don't know at the moment, but yeah, that was really important.
And how much does the nature of that victory continue that feel-good factor from what you've developed in recent weeks? It's that first home league game of 2025 you've won. You've got Brighton next at Old Trafford. I mean, that's also going to bring its own challenges.
We have to do much better, especially the first half, the way we played. I think the way we build up, the way we lost all our duels in our own half. We know we have to improve that. But the fact, and I think you saw that in Anfield, you saw that also in the Emirates, the fact that we kept believing, we kept fighting, we put the intensity in, that is something that is really improving, and that is, I think, the base of becoming a great team. And yeah, then we still have to get time to learn some automatic movements, but I'm sure that will come in the next upcoming weeks.
Great stuff. Thanks for joining us tonight. Well done today.
Thank you. Thank you.
Matthijs de Ligt there giving us his post-match reaction to an incredible 90 minutes, or I should say incredible 12 minutes in the way that game finished.
You nailed it. It was 12 minutes. There wasn't many good minutes before that. But actually, he speaks really well. Do you know, he kind of analysed the game really well. It's about duels, you got to win them. And then kind of in the last 10, 12 minutes, they were able to win a lot of those duels. But obviously, I think he'll know there's a lot of work to be done to kind of to step it up. But if you looked at the fixtures we just showed there, the next 6, they're all winnable. I know Brighton and Fulham are good sides, but actually, you know, they should go on a little run here at Manchester United if they play to their potential.
You could tell from his experience, really, the way it was coming across, that yes, big win, but work to be done, right?
Yeah, he knew they were a little bit fortunate. But similar to Amad Diallo, he had the same sort of confidence in that he was going to keep going till the end, and he understood his role. I think he had a fairly solid night. But I think he also knows that they need to also build and keep going. And there's still that just element of uncertainty from the fans and from the energy inside the stadium, as he touched on.
Right, so we've heard from de Ligt. What about the post-match thoughts of his manager? Here's Ruben Amorim.
Many congratulations on the victory, but what's your overwhelming emotion that you've won a game that for a long time it looked like you might lose?
Yes, we had that feeling. We lost some chances. It was not a great game. We didn't do a great game, but I think after Liverpool and Arsenal, I felt the team a little bit tired. and always late, especially in the first half, and with a lot of problems between the lines. The speed of Suleimana was really hard to catch, and they create some chances also. But then we improve in the second half. They lost some strength because they were doing man-to-man during the pressure. Then we take control of the game. We create chances. You had a feeling that it's going to be hard, but in the end, I think we deserve the win.
Were you surprised by Southampton, the fact that they deservedly led and might have scored more than the one goal they managed in the first half?
I was not surprised. I know that this coach puts a lot of intensity. His style is known in Italy. They were stronger in the duels in the first half, but like I said, then the second half they lose some power. And we took advantage of that, and I think the most important thing in this moment is to win, and we do it.
Amad Diallo has scored some big goals for you. A hat-trick tonight, his first in senior football. Just how impressive was he in that final 12 minutes?
Yeah, he did a great job. Even during the game, he has a lot to improve. He played in a different position today. Then in the second half, he took advantage of his ability, good assists from the players. The last goal was similar from Everton, the recovery. So he did a good job, but he has to prepare for the next win.
He's a young player, obviously, with a lot of responsibility on his shoulders, and he said to us that he felt like somebody needed to step up. How admirable is it that a player of his age, of his stature, is able to contribute in the way that he did?
Yeah, all the players in this team have the same responsibility. He doesn't have to step up. That thing will appear if he do the work, if he train well. Good things going to happen. So he has the same responsibility of every player that play for Manchester United. But he's in a great moment. He's doing a very good season. But like I said, we see this in the past with a lot of players, young players in our squad. So he has to continue to work and to play like that.
Thanks for your time. Congratulations. Cheers.
Now, that was really interesting, and that's been one of the features of his interview since he's been in England. He's almost disarmingly honest, and he talks about Amad Diallo at 22. He doesn't have to step up. He's got more senior players around him who should be doing that.
Yeah, he almost seemed a little reluctant to be overly kind to, I think, Amad Diallo tonight, which maybe is just his way of managing it. You know, maybe privately there will be more confidence given to him, because I think tonight he did show what he was about. And age isn't always a relevant factor, but age can be a reason why, you know, younger players don't consistently step up. I think he's right in that everyone has the same requirement.
Yeah.
But it feels like Amad Diallo is the one who too often is that person for Manchester United when they do find a way to get a result, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting that he chose to say that there is still room for improvement from Diallo, you know, after the highs of just literally scoring a first senior hat-trick. Is he just trying to keep his feet on the ground here?
No, I think his feet are on the ground already. I don't know why I would say that, because he's the one that did grab the game. He's the one that did grab the initiative. Nobody else did. So he said, obviously, the other players could, but nobody else did. He's the one that said, right, I'm going to make something happen here. So they were very fortunate to have him out on the pitch today, Amad Diallo, because he's the one that turned that result around, virtually on his own. And I know Xerxes and Eriksen, they had moments in the game, but it was Amad Diallo that came to the rescue. And that's why everybody hugged him like he was
this
Father
saviour
almost.
Yeah,
he was. Look, he was a saviour today. And, you know, and he deserves all the praise. And everybody should be praising him, even the manager.
Yeah, and talking of the manager, for Ruben Amorim, that's 10 Premier League games he has now managed since he came from Sporting Lisbon. In that time, he's picked up 3 wins. 5 defeats and a draw there as well. So, right, 2 draws, actually. So, how do we assess the first 10? Did we expect more from them at this stage?
I think we did, yeah.
Much more?
I think because of the success that he had at Sporting, I think we expected just he'd come in. But, I mean, maybe that is a little bit naive. You know, he's changed the formation, changed a lot of things. But 3 wins in 10 is probably not what anybody envisioned. So let's say they're a work in progress. And they're probably going to look a lot different in the summer. But right now, I still think everybody's adjusting to playing this 3-4-3 or however you want to call it. And, you know, goal scoring is still a big issue, for this team. They're one of, easily one of the lowest scorers in the division. And that really can't be with kind of the personnel that they have. So I think they need to step it up in terms of goal scoring. But I'll be interested to see where they finish at the end of the season. Premier League's finished, obviously. That's not got, the top four's over. They got to win the Europa League. If they can win Europa League, then they get into, Champions League football, and that's everything for Man United's season.
I think what United fans, Rachel, were expecting, for all those around the world, when a new manager comes in, that the lack of inconsistency or the lack of consistency will stop from Erik ten Hag, and that there will be more of a pattern behind the results, which haven't quite happened.
No, and sometimes results isn't the only thing you can go on. I think...
But what about the performances then?
Yeah, and I think that's probably more, you look at tonight and other games of late, what sort of worries me a little bit is they have this system that they play, but, you look at tonight, they had over 20 shots. But when you actually think about it, I don't really remember Ramsdale making a save. They don't particularly create that many clear-cut opportunities. No. There's the one that Anthony, somehow missed. But other than that, you watch the game and they don't sort of have a system that they dominate possession that much, it seems. So then you're thinking, right, well, sure, or create quick transitions. That wasn't overly effective tonight either. So I think I probably am a little more concerned at how are United going to try and play to actually find a way to get results.
It feels like they're struggling to move away from the counter-attacking style that's almost been ingrained in them.
I don't know if anybody wants to play counter-attacking style, especially not at Manchester United. You're meant to play on the front foot. You're meant to dominate the ball. That's why Erik ten Hag got the job, because he, played this Ajax way and, and they dominated the ball. That's why he got rid of David De Gea, to get Onana, because they had a ball-playing goalkeeper. But that didn't really materialise. United were best under the counter-attack, like under Ole Gunnar, and I think Ten Hag's best performances were on the counter-attack as well. If you look at United under Amorim, even Arsenal, City, where are they good? Counter-attack. Everybody's trying to dominate the ball, but actually, I don't think they're... When you play two central midfield players that ended up with Collier and Bruno Fernandes, you're not going to dominate the ball. And that's against a team that's 20th in the Premier League. So I do think that it is a work in progress on many levels. Goalkeepers probably set defensively, they're not bad, but they need work in the middle of the pitch, obviously, I think. And they need to sort the striker position out. But obviously losing Marcus Rashford could be a huge blow. Talk about Garnacho potentially leaving. I think if I was a United fan, I am. That's a worry. Do you know? I'm trying to do my job and be kind of, not have.
Okay, so what would you do then about Alejandro Garnacho? Links with Napoli?
No, but Manish, nobody's leaving. Rashford's not leaving. Mainu's not leaving. Nobody's leaving. They're your best players. We're going to help integrate these and build around. You're not going to get better than them. To let these guys go on loan and pay half their wages is madness. Impossible. I wouldn't let it happen. I know maybe Marcus wants to go play somewhere. Knuckle down and sort it out. Look where Harry Maguire was a couple of years ago. And now he's got a new contract. Football changes real quick. And you want to keep your best, most talented players here. And I think Garnacho, Mainu and Marcus still are a part of that group, and I think they could have a bright future if they just sort it out.
Would you have the same philosophy, Rachel?
I think it feels that the Rashford situation might be slightly separate. I think because there's obviously it feels like there's a lot more to that. It's hard to truthfully know when you're on the outside. I feel Mainu is someone that they certainly should want to keep, and I think Garnacho would be a loss, primarily because he's someone who has scored goals for them, and goals haven't been something that they've got, at their riches. So it would be a loss, but I also think part of what Amorim has done by playing so many different people and clearly trying to show to the board, the people that give him the budget, I play this way, and the players that we have, there's still gaps in the system. I think there's been an element of these last 10 games have been to highlight that. I think over the course of the next 5 to 10 games, the results need to start coming, and he needs to start getting players consistently on the pitch that can play together, work together, create opportunities, and start to actually get that to come to fruition.
You see, Mainu is the most fascinating aspect of those three players that you've mentioned with Rashford and Garnacho. Through the academy, homegrown talent, reports of maybe for PSR situation or, that his sale would be needed possibly. But you're saying this would be the worst move possible.
Football's broken if you're meant to sell your best young academy kids. They should be cherished. Look at the class of '92 at Manchester United, the impact they had on that football club.
Yeah.
That now we think, let's promote players to get into the first team so we can sell them to go against PSR. Who came up with that rule, by the way? It's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard of. That teams are incentivized for selling their academy-grown players. Honestly, who came up with that? You should be benefited for actually staying at the football club and nurturing these players throughout the football club. So I don't want to see any of those guys go. I want to see them actually be there. That's what the fans love to see, these kids coming through. My favorite thing about this job is seeing these guys come through with their first step. I was there for Marcus's first game. It's a beautiful thing to see the way they interact with the fans and connection they have. To all of a sudden say, oh yeah, we sell him because we, for profit. What? Football's is way better than that. And it shouldn't be all about finances and money. It should be about identifying and supporting these kids on this journey. I'm blown away that they've created
that it's even been
like
talked about.
Yeah, no, that it's been allowed to happen. We've seen all these brilliant young kids being sold for PSR. I mean, honestly, madness.
Yeah, but Rachel, I mean, it's these youngsters that clubs like Manchester United, it's the cornerstone of their success really going forward, isn't it? And for the fans to relate to the club.
Yeah, and you want players, when you're a fan of a club, you want players to come from the academy because you believe that they love the club like you love the club. And that's not always quite true, but there's some sort of fantasy, but, there's a nice element to that. And I agree. I mean, it's really sad that clubs benefit and feel in some instances because of the rules, because there's a threat of points deduction and fines and all the rest of it, that then becomes something that clubs do have to think about. I'm sure Manchester United don't want to sell those players for that reason, but if they know if we do that and it's pure profit because they've come through the academy, then there is a greater gain for that reason. And I think that's where probably somebody somewhere that's way over our heads, but, looking at that, because that just doesn't seem like that's the best thing for the game.
Yeah.